I'm with Doug Young, Executive VP at HPS Schönox America. Let me add that in there. Doug, it's great to have you on this program.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Dave.
Now, let me just start off by asking you about the year 2015. What kind of a year was it? And I want to know, for the company itself, and just what you hear in your travels. I know you travel all the time.
Yeah, 2015 was a great year for us. It's funny, we hit our goals and achieved what we wanted to, but not because it just came to us. We worked really hard for it. But even though Schönox has been around for 125 years, and now this is our fifth year in North America, we still feel like a startup. It takes a lot of work getting out there every single day, and I think our biggest challenge is just simply finding good folks to not only to work for us, but to also be partner with us in our distribution network. It's been a good year, but we're looking to do a lot more.
Now, in your travels, what do you hear from the people that you talk to, distributors and other ones? I hear a lot of people tell me it's been sort of flat throughout the year. What are you hearing?
Well, I think we have the advantage of being in an industry that, to be honest with you, I think the overall flooring industry is kind of moving towards subfloors, not just Schönox, but the other products in our industry as well. If you look at the overall flooring industry, it's kind of moved steadily from soft surface to hard surface, and then within hard surface, it's moving towards resilient products, and within resilient products, moving towards LVT. And all of those things really need a solid, flat, smooth subfloor to go over to make them look the best. And for all of those reasons, I feel like the industry, in a lot of ways, is sort of moving towards us and the other companies in our industry.
Let me ask you about the company Schönox in general. As you mentioned, 125 years. That's a long time. It's a German organization. Just give us a little history lesson on it.
Sure. So Schönox was founded about 125 years ago in Germany. 100 years ago, the company looked vastly different than what it looks like today. There were two main historical events that really spurred the growth of the company towards what it is today, and that would be the end of World War II, the rebuilding of Germany and then Europe in general, and then again in 1990 with the reunification of Germany. Both of those events contributed greatly to a lot of renovations and rebuildings and things like that. And really, Schönox took advantage of both of those opportunities to grow, come up with new technologies, new products to help in that process.
Now, establishing yourself here in the United States, in North America in general, talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Trissel family has had a long-standing relationship with Schönox. Thomas Trissel, our founder, and his family have been a nearly 60-year customer of Schönox in Germany. And when Schönox approached the time where they were ready to enter the American market, they were considering how they were going to do that and what the best way to do that would be. They could have chosen to go at it alone and really basically start from zero presence and just try to build from nothing. They chose to partner with somebody they knew very well in the Trissels, Thomas Trissel specifically, somebody that already knew the American market, had success once before with Sentiva, and they formed a partnership, and that's how Schönox ended up in the United States.
Interesting. What factors would you say the organization has, and I'm talking about here in the United States primarily, that differentiates it from the other players in your segment?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of great companies in our industry. I mean, we're out there every day competing against other companies. We're not the only great product out there. But I will tell you one thing that makes us a little bit different is probably a little bit of our perspective. We use the term reno versus demo. I mean, we use that in a lot of our literature and things like that. And that really comes from where we kind of focus a little bit more on restoration, renovations, things like that, as opposed to building new. Not only is that environmentally friendly, but it also allows the contractor to give their customer a lot more options for their project. Traditionally, contractors for the most part have just been skim coating, taking what's already there, or maybe they're ripping everything out, so it's a complete rip out instead of just going in, pouring simply a new floor, and leaving a brand new substrate which they can work with.
I'm wondering if you, in your business, I guess everybody has traditional situations that you have to overcome. Well, I've been using this, I've been doing it this way for 20 years, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a big hurdle in your business?
Well, we talk a lot about breaking habits. Okay, so you have somebody that's been doing it one way for a long time, and Schönox has maybe a different way of doing things, and maybe some new technologies that might make it a little bit easier or less expensive, or for whatever reason might be a better option. Probably one of the biggest hurdles we have with gaining new customers is just simply telling somebody what you're doing is fine and works, but you know what? There might be another way that might actually be a little bit better, maybe a little less time consuming, maybe a little less expensive. Why don't you consider it?
So that's an uphill battle, I guess, with changing from old to new. I don't care what the topic is. That's always quite a challenge, I guess. And I guess that's something you deal with daily.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking with people that are professionals and have been doing something for a long time. So, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit to maybe make them understand that there might be some other way that they might consider.
Now, problems in general. You had mentioned about some of the problems people have installing something over concrete. That's quite a problem in this industry, I guess, isn't it? And there's a lot of problems that we see with installed floor coverings because perhaps it wasn't done in the correct way.
Well, you know, really with concrete, you've got a whole bunch of different things that a contractor can discover when they go to put a new floor down. With concrete, you could have a cracked slab. You could have adhesive residue. You could have pock marks, unevenness, not level. There are all kinds of things that could, you know, you could come across, and that's not even getting into moisture, that you could have a moisture issue in his slab. So all of these specific issues, Schönox has a product or products to address every one of those issues, and probably others that I'm not even thinking of right now.
Now, a lot of those problems that you mentioned, the problem that's present on the floor itself is going to be a problem that eventually show up with whatever flooring you're putting over that.
Right, like I said at the beginning, when we're moving from soft surface to hard surface, the reason why that's key is when you're putting carpet down, carpet is not susceptible to problems with the subfloor. It hides a lot of imperfections. When you put down specifically resilient products, any little problem in the subfloor is going to telegraph to the finished product. So even though you might have a beautiful LVT or sheet vinyl or ceramic or whatever it is that you're putting down, that product might be beautiful, but if what's beneath it is not flat and level, then that's just going to show right through on top.
Now, the situation, and I've had a lot of people on this program talking about some of the problems that crop up out in the field. It seems like many of them are flooring is one of the last products that goes in. If there's been a problem in terms of time, it seems to always end up being a problem for whoever's doing the floor covering. And it's hurry up, I need to get this done, and if you don't do it, I'll probably find somebody else that will. That seems to open the door for many, many problems. How do you deal with that?
Well, I think the flooring industry in general gets squeezed a lot, especially in large commercial jobs. It's typically, like you said, it's at the end, so any delays that have happened with other trades up to that point have basically squeezed out any extra time there was in the schedule for flooring. So the floor covering professional needs to be able to get in there quickly, get the job done quickly, and that includes assessing anything wrong with the substrate. That includes addressing any installation problems that may occur or a problem with the product itself. They need to get in, get the job done, you know, decide what they're going to do and get out, because typically by that time in the overall project scale, all the extra times have been used up already.
Yeah, but that means to mitigate a problem, you have to go in and fix a problem you didn't know before the floor came up.
Yep.
I mean, that's quite a problem, and I guess we see so many times people cutting corners.
Right, and moisture mitigation is one of those areas. So, you know, a good professional company is going to be able to come in and know that that's something they need to check for before the job even starts. That's got to be something on the front end that they're able to address, because you don't want to discover that you have a problem, like I said, in those last few days when you've got to get, that's the time you have to get the job done. All of a sudden, you know you have a moisture issue, for instance.
So normally you don't know you have a moisture problem until you take the old floor out?
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Every project's a little different.